Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis of New York State joins us, member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Congresswoman, good to see you. How would you address the pinch? What should the administration do? How do we get more formula back on the shelves now? Because, you know, parents have been desperately wanting it.
Well, Republicans have been calling for them to streamline the process, to set the standards for importation, because it could easily be received from other countries while they ramp up production here at home. The real issue is that the FDA under President Biden shut down that one plant in Michigan that provides about 15% of the stock nationwide. And that has only exacerbated the problem, and it's been months. And so we are wondering, why has it taken the FDA so long to investigate and get this manufacturing plant back online? Because now we're seeing shortages, around 50% stock shortage across the country as a result. The president should have been on top of this months ago, and many members of the Republican conference had been calling for the FDA to ramp up the production to streamline the situation. I mean, he could have also invoked the National Defense Authorization if necessary, if we knew it was going to take this long. So really, this is an issue of why his agencies are working so slowly to address this issue that is now hurting American families. And then to see what is occurring at the border with the pallets, that's just a slap in the face, to see that how there's a formula available there, but not in the stores across America.
Before we get there, go back to this fallback on the border. First of all, it's the law that anyone comes in for asylum, that they have to be fed. Babies who come across the border need to be fed. And there's also controversy over those pallets. That's another issue. But in terms of what you just talked about, most people don't realize there are only 4 domestic producers of formula in this country. So if one factory goes down, man, we're caught short. You know, what can they do now in order to get more in? The president says they're going to reduce some regulations, bring more overseas. But were you surprised that this, you know, it's been 2 months already since last February when that plant went down? It hasn't even started up yet.
Absolutely. I think the question that a lot of us have is, why were these manufacturers not brought to the White House earlier to have a discussion on how the federal government can help? And again, the other thing is these agencies need to be fully staffed. They're still working on COVID restrictions. People are still working from home at agencies all across the country. We have problems with various agencies each and every day to help our constituents with various issues. So we need to get everyone back to work, and perhaps that also played a role. And the other thing was, Democrats have waited months to hold a hearing. We're now going to have a hearing 3 months after this problem initiated in February. That is far too late. But again, it's them being reactive to what the Republicans have been doing, calling attention to this. Look, it's also very reminiscent of the energy crisis that we're facing in this country. The president doesn't want to ramp up domestic production. His desk, they're sitting on thousands of lease applications while we have an energy crisis and people are paying soaring gas prices. So it's just one thing after another from this administration, and a lot of it has to do with the regulations, the red tape, the bureaucracy, the government agencies not being fully back to work that has led to this. And at the end of the day, that's the president. He's the executive, he's the manager of all these agencies, and he has to make sure that they're doing their job.
Well, and you talk about the president, the Wall Street Journal blaming the Trump administration, President Trump, for some of this. Tariffs, regulations. Let me read you something that the Atlantic reveals about this. They say the tax on formula imports can exceed 17%. Under President Donald Trump, the U.S. entered into a new North American trade agreement that actively discouraged formula imports from our largest trading partner, Canada. We're seeing what happens when we reduce trade with other nations. So, Congresswoman, do you think that policy, which was instituted under President Trump, should be reversed now? Drop that 17.5% tariff. You know, why can't we just get more baby food from Canada by tomorrow?
Well, look, there's a lot of things we should be doing with Canada, including finishing the Keystone Pipeline so we can get energy from Canada. Look, these policies can be looked at and altered as needed, but the reality is that this is the fault of this administration. He has created a border crisis, an energy crisis, a food shortage crisis, now the baby formula. We are seeing crime. We're seeing a lot of issues across America's cities that are going unaddressed as well under Democratic leadership. So let's not play games here. They're trying to blame a president that has left office over a year ago, instead of actually seeing what we can do right now to resolve this issue. If the tariff is an issue, then let's address it and let's get to work and just get it done. But I don't see any leadership from this president. What you're seeing right now in the United States.
Let me interrupt you, because he pointed out that they are doing something, that they're taking action.
Yeah, they're doing something now, but months later.
Considering the Defense Production Act. And you got a banner right under you, Congresswoman, says, for more information, and parents should know about this, hhs.gov/formula. If you want to know where to find formula, well, that's something they're doing right now. Whether that's enough, we'll have to see. Certainly, our hearts are out to every parent.
Months later, though.
And by the way, they say don't dilute the formula. You can go to hhs.gov formula. Congresswoman Malliotakis from the great borough of Staten Island, otherwise known as Richmond County, here in New York. Congresswoman, thank you.
Thank you.
Otherwise known as the home of Pete Davidson. All right. Anyway.